Good evening, Belize, and welcome to XTV's news broadcast for Monday, April 7, 2025. Making the headlines tonight, AG asks for BPM redistricting case to be thrown out. Concerned San Pedro stakeholders agitate around Cayo Rosario development. GOB to allocate $4 million for nurses' allowances. Motorist survives brazen execution attempt in Belmopan. And John Saldivar denies reports he wants another go at the UDP leadership. We take our first break and return with the news in detail. Welcome back with your news. I am Drea Espinosa. High Court Justice Tawanda Honduras has reserved his decision in the Belize Peace Movement's redistricting case to have Schedule 1 of the Representation of the People Act, ROPA, deemed unconstitutional due to the malapportionment of electoral divisions. Arguments on a preliminary issue of abuse of process were made this morning, and the Elections and Boundaries Commission and the Attorney General are asking that the case be thrown out, arguing on the principles of res judicata that the matter has already been ruled upon in the High Court. They therefore hold that it is an abuse of process to have the court use its resources to rule on similar remedies being sought. Attorney Hector Guerra is one of the attorneys for the Elections and Boundaries Commission. He spoke to the media after the hearing.
We presented arguments today that focused on 2 points. The first is that we said the matter was res judicata, meaning there is a previous case, the Parker Smith case, if you recall, from back in 2019, which addressed similar issues, and in which 6 of the 7 claimants today were also involved. And so we advanced arguments to say that this is abusive. This matter has already been decided by the court, and in fact a consent order was issued by the court that was agreed to by all the parties and that addressed the very same arguments that are being advanced by the claimants, that is malapportionment. But importantly, I think it's important to note that the cabinet last week, I believe, issued a press release in which they committed to facilitate the process of redistricting. So really this entire case is moot because the constitutionally envisioned process is now in motion. My instructions are that the Elections and Boundaries Commission is fully prepared and is on standby, ready, willing and able to carry out whatever duties they're required to do under the Constitution.
What about the argument that no court in Belize has made a final determination on the unconstitutionality of the electoral boundaries?
Well, that really is a red herring. We say so. Why do we say so? The Elections and Boundaries Department, as you recall, was required under the consent order to produce a report in terms of the redistricting of the electoral boundaries. That report was produced, but the claimants, being aware of the report, never sought to challenge that report. And so the simple point is this: if you want to challenge it, you must challenge it at the appropriate time. The press release by the cabinet has now said that the government is prepared to carry out the obligations it's required to do under the Constitution. A new process has now commenced. Anybody who keeps abreast of the developments must act on their rights. It is their duty to be properly advised and to come before the court in the proper fashion. There is a method and there are rules that govern procedure in terms of court proceedings. All governmental agencies, all statutory bodies, all bodies that are formed under the Constitution are subject to judicial review in terms of decisions, reports, any statutory obligation that they're required to undertake.
Senior Counsel Hubert Elrington was holding brief for attorney Cynthia Pitts. We asked why the claimants did not challenge the report itself.
So why wasn't the report itself challenged?
Because the Election and Boundaries Commission is an administrative institution. We have protection at a higher level. We have Section 20 of the Constitution. We don't have to fool around what the Election and Boundaries do. We can say we are going to the court. We will see you in court. And that's what we did.
A part of what I understand is also that there hasn't necessarily been a clear determination from any court in Belize that the boundaries are unconstitutional the way they are set up right now.
The issue as to whether the schedule to the Europa representation of the People's Act, ROPA, representation of the People Act. The question as to whether the proposals put forward in this purported exercise of its constitutional function by the Election and Boundaries Constitution, that has never come before any law, any court. It is a new matter, so this idea or this application to declare them or to strike them out because they are sub judice, they have been heard and dealt with by the court before, is clearly nonsensical.
Residents of San Pedro are being invited by a group of concerned stakeholders to a public meeting on April 8 at 7 p.m. at the Lion's Den regarding the Cayo Rosario development. The groups include the Ambergris Fishing Guide Association, the Ambergris Key Citizens for Sustainable Development, the Belize Flats Fishery Association, and several others. The notice says the meeting is to discuss the ongoing dredging and the mangrove destruction happening around the island and to plan the way forward to defend the Cayo Rosario Flats and its marine reserve. Today, the Minister of Sustainable Development, Honorable Orlando Habet, was asked for his thoughts on the planned meeting and the growing agitation on Ambergris Key concerning the development. Habet said that people have a right to voice their frustrations and added that the ministry doesn't have enough personnel to police every development. He did say that should the development be found to be in violation, a stop order would be issued.
I think that the people who are looking after Cayo Rosario have a right to speak out, and if they are dissatisfied with the way things are going, then that it is their right. Many times from the Department of Environment, you might issue a release saying that a certain organization or owner has been given environmental clearance, but these clearances also come with conditions. So the department has to have the personnel. Many times we don't have the personnel really out there for each particular development project to be looking after it on a daily basis. So when you see something going on, by the time you know it, maybe it's 2 or 3 days after, and so then you have to go out there and see what's happening. I think the Department of Environment has capable staff that will be out there and see what's happening, and if the group that is doing the supposedly damage is out of order, then they will be able to put a stop order to that.
Minister of Health and Wellness Kevin Bernard has reported that the package of allowances being granted to nurses in the public health system in a phased approach will amount to $4 million. The first change will be implemented in May 2025 and will see uniform allowance increased from $300 to $500. The minister says this is in line with what KHMH offers their nurses. In April 2026, there will be changes relating to night allowance, and a set of other allowances will come thereafter. Bernard shared that this decision to grant a retention package to nurses emphasizes the importance that Cabinet places on the work of our nurses.
As a minister, and having spoken at the nurses conference last year, we made that commitment, and I said to Nurse Bell, let's ensure that we push as fast as we can to get this retention package in, and so I was able to take the paper to Cabinet, and everybody wholeheartedly supported, because they value our nurses, they value our healthcare professionals, and we're trying to do this across the ministry in terms of how we are looking into how to ensure that we could not only expect and expect work from them, but we want to ensure that they are properly compensated for the level of work that they had to do. And the nurses is just one category of healthcare professionals that have done a lot of significant work across this country. They are our first contact. They are the ones who are there beside the patient every single day to ensure that they can provide that necessary care. They are the listening ear. They are sometimes the sympathizers and empathizers for people who come and need healing and look for hope, or when they have to care and have a shoulder to lean on for somebody who may have lost loved ones. And so the nurses do a lot. You know, they leave their homes, they come here, and they take care of the patients. And that's one of the things that I applaud our nurses for. And so this is just but as a part of the gratitude that we have to provide, but also a compensation so that they can also continue to live better lives.
The United Democratic Party held a National Party Council meeting Saturday to discuss the way forward after the trouncing they received in the March 12 general elections. It lasted almost 4 hours. The meeting was led by interim leader Tracy Panton and had the presence of all area representatives except Mike Guerra from Cayo West. Present was John Saldivar and Dr. Omar Figueroa. Panton shared they will prepare for the upcoming village council elections and for the national convention, which will take place within 90 days. Panton was asked about the electability of some of their standard bearers, which has already been tested in the March 12 general elections.
Everything will happen in this party in due course. It will happen conscientiously. It will happen constitutionally. I can tell you already, there are a number of new persons who are prepared to step up and support the party, to run for the party, but we're going to do things properly. And what we will not do is what Sean Barrow did to this party. We are going to follow the Constitution, and we are going to take things in due course. The party is viable. We have 5 members in the National Assembly. We have 3 members in the Senate. We have 31 standard bearers, caretakers, and we will do the work that is required to rebuild the party.
There are credible reports that John Saldivar is drumming up support in his bid to have the Constitution of the United Democratic Party amended to allow anyone to vie for leadership. As we have been reporting currently, only those who hold a seat in Parliament can throw their hat in the ring. It has also been reported that Saldivar is recruiting support from standard bearers who would want their caretakership to be cemented from early on so as not to be contested down the road. Just as he denied the report last week, Saldivar reacted to this second report in a comment made to the central executive of the party in their private WhatsApp group. He affirmed he is not involved in any conspiracy to undermine the leadership of Tracy Panton. Things continue developing within the UDP today, and this afternoon there were reports of heated exchanges in the Central Executive Chat group. After 4 p.m., Saldivar pointed to an active attempt to destabilize the Tracy Panton-led UDP, and he affirmed that they will not succeed in driving a wedge between him and his leader. He added, quote, "I have given the last year of my life to right what I did wrong when I supported Shine over Tracy the last time around. Thankfully, Honorable Panton and I are good friends. Our friendship will survive this latest attempt, and her leadership of the UDP will take us to great heights. Long live the UDP, long live Honorable Tracy Panton, who is destined to be Belize's first female prime minister," end quote. Saldivar said the owner behind the news blog is for sale to the highest bidder and remarked that there is a madman who has set his eyes on the leadership who will stop at nothing. We're told that no proposal for amendment to the Constitution on the agenda for Saturday's NPC meeting, and Panton reiterated that there will be a comprehensive review of the party's constitution in the next few months. In police news, on Saturday, just after midday in Belmopan, there was a shooting in front of TJ's shop, just several blocks away from the U.S. Embassy in the Cahoon Walk area. A backseat passenger in a white suburban SUV fired multiple shots at a black Mazda SUV before the vehicle sped off. Residents report hearing at least a dozen shots fired. People, including children who were at the store, scrambled for cover. The shooting was caught on surveillance footage. It shows 3 people scrambling out of the Mazda in an attempt to avoid being shot. 23-year-old Jamal Hyde was injured to the leg and managed to drive himself to the hospital located just a few blocks away. Reports are that police located the Suburban and determined that it was a rental. There are also reports that Hyde was targeted by a cousin who was seeking revenge. But today, ACP Gilberto Romero did not confirm this, stating that investigations thus far only revealed that they know each other.
Police responded to a shooting in Bellopan. Upon their arrival, they learned that one person received injuries and had been taken to the hospital for treatment. He was identified as Jamal Hyde. Investigation revealed that Jamal Hyde was in a Mazda vehicle when an occupant from a suburban vehicle fired several shots towards his vehicle, causing the injury to him. There were 2 other persons in the Mazda, but they were not injured. Jamal Hyde has since been treated and released from the hospital. The vehicle involved in the shooting has been recovered and several persons are in custody pending investigation.
Are the suspects related to the victim?
I am aware that they are known to each other, that's all I know. Some internal feud with these persons involving Jamal Hyde.
Is it a feud fueled by revenge?
Again, that is all information we have. They have some feud amongst themselves, and that is what led to this shooting.
After the break, 3 people, including woman and child, shot in Belize City. Stay with us.
Estás mejor vivo que muerto. Farmacia Freetown, teléfono 22 32 87 6.
In Belize City, 3 people, including a woman and a minor, were shot Sunday afternoon at a residence on Iguana Street Extension. Reports are that a gunman arrived as the passenger on a motorcycle and ran into the yard where he opened fire. Injured were 56-year-old Marilee Richards, who was hit to the stomach, 36-year-old Edgar Chuck hit to the arm, and a 12-year-old who was hit to the foot. ACP Gilberto Romero told the media today that police believe the intended target was not hit in the shooting. Police have several persons in custody.
Police responded to a shooting on Iguana Street in Belize City. Upon the arrival, learned 3 persons had been shot and taken to the KHMH for treatment. Edgar Chuck and Marilyn Richard received gunshot injuries, as well as a 12-year-old minor. They are all presently at the KHMH receiving treatment, and they are all in stable condition. Investigation revealed that they were sitting in a yard on Iguana Street when a motorcycle came to the area. A person came off the motorcycle and fired several shots towards the direction. We have several persons in custody at this time. Information revealed that a person that was at the yard was the intended target, but he was not shot.
Is it in any way related to the previous shooting on that street?
We have some information that it may be related, so we're doing follow-up work on it.
Are police concerned about that area?
Yes, it is of concern, so we will do several operations and bring in the persons from those areas to try to prevent any further retaliation.
The chairperson of CARICOM, Barbados Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley, on Friday issued a pre-recorded statement advising citizens to brace for price increases in all sectors as the world is on the precipice of a trade war. She explained that Caribbean countries either import their products from the U.S. or they pass through the U.S. on their way here. Quote, "We have always been at the whims of global prices," she stated. According to Motley, we will be impacted regardless of whatever action our leaders decide to take. She also warned that it will hit tourism as well.
Europe and China and the US and Canada and Mexico are all putting tariffs on each other. That is going to disrupt supply chains. That is going to raise the cost of producing everything from the food you eat to the clothes on your back, to the phone in your pocket, to the car you drive down the road, to the spare parts that you need for critical infrastructure. That means higher prices for all of us to pay. And sadly, yes, this will impact all of you, regardless of what any of our Caribbean governments will do. We could lower our tariffs to 0 in CARICOM, and it will not make a lick of difference because our economies are small and vulnerable. This crisis, my friends, will impact not only goods, but it may also have a large spillover effect on tourism. We suggest that the region take steps to sustain the tourism industry, as likely worsening conditions in many of our source markets will have negative impacts on people's ability to travel. We call on our regional private sector and the tourism sector to come together and to work with governments to collaborate for an immediate tourism strategy to ensure that we maintain market share numbers as a region.
Motley shared what she believes the region needs to do in response.
First, we must re-engage urgently, directly, and at the highest possible level with our friends in the United States of America. There is an obvious truth which has to be confronted by both sides. That truth is that these small and micro states of the Caribbean do not in any way or in any sector enjoy a greater degree of financial benefit in the balance of trade than does the United States. In fact, it is because of our small size, our great vulnerability, our limited manufacturing capacity, our inability to distort trade in any way, that successive United States administrations, including and most recently the Reagan administration in the early 1980s, went to great lengths to assist us in promoting our abilities to sell in the United States under the Caribbean Basin Initiative. We will see how these tariffs will impact on that. That spirit of cooperation largely enabled security, social stability, and economic growth on America's third border in the Caribbean, or as we have agreed as recently in our meeting with Secretary of State Rubio, what is now our collective neighborhood. Secondly, we must not fight among each other for political gain, because, my dear brothers and sisters, as the old adage goes, united we stand and divided we fall. Thirdly, we must redouble our efforts to invest in Caribbean agricultural production and light manufacturing. The 25 by 2025 initiative, ably led by President Ali, seems too modest a target now, given all that we are confronting. We must grow our own and produce our own as much as possible. We can all make the decision to buy healthy foods at the market instead of processed foods at the supermarket. Fourthly, we must build our ties with Africa, Central and Latin America, and renew those ties with some of our older partners around the world, in the United Kingdom and Europe, in Canada. We must not rely solely on one or two markets. We need to be able to sell our Caribbean goods to a wider, more stable global market.
Motley also insisted that we buy local and buy regional. Meanwhile, opposition leader Honorable Tracy Panton has called for a bipartisan approach to address the tariff that U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed on Belize. Panton, who served as Minister of State for Trade in the last Barrow administration, affirmed that the policy decision, which will impact our way of life and our ability to provide for our families due to higher prices for goods, requires a coordinated, comprehensive national plan.
We need to take keen attention to what is happening in the global context. We all have heard the saying that when the U.S. sneezes, Belize catches a cold. The tariffs will, in my opinion, raise the cost of living exponentially for Belizeans, and that is something that requires us all to put our best minds to the table to find the solutions, particularly for those who are most marginalized and vulnerable in our country.
The current sugar crop harvest has been hard hit by a multiplicity of factors. Road conditions due to the rains impeded efficient transport to the mill, and this was coupled with diseases like fusarium and pest infestations. We asked Alfredo Ortega, the chairman of the Committee of Management of the largest cane farmer association, the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association, how they expect to be impacted as a result.
We had a lot of problem with the weather, with a lot of rain, and also at last the fusarium came and made his vision in many of the cane fields. So we are seeing those problems where the farmers are harvesting those type of cane, but we are seeing an improvement at this point in regards to quality. We hope that that can continue. Praise God that the weather continue the way it is. The only thing is that it's brings us a little bit down because of the cane cutters. You know that the sun is very hot and climate change is around us. So it really put a little track back to us in regards to our deliveries. But we are trying our best. We are doing what we can. And I have seen that our quality is improving in a day-to-day basis.
How badly do you foresee your income and profits being impacted this season?
It will be impacted very, very, very big because, as you know, the price right now has not reached the price it was last year at this time. I think last year we were in the vicinity of $60.61. Right now we're at $53.54.31, if I'm not mistaken, the last information they gave us last week Friday. So we are still down maybe for $3 below last year. So we see the impact, and we are seeing right now the quality where we are at this point. We are, if I'm not mistaken, we are in 13 right now, where last year we were in 11 at this time. So the gap that is here is a good distance right now, but hopefully if we continue doing what we are doing right now in the harvesting, that 13 TCTs we have right now will reduce significantly as the crop progress.
After the break, former UDP leader questions the application of cybercrime law. Stay tuned.
20 years ago,
Former Commissioner of Police Chester Williams has provided a background for the cybercrime charge against Police Constable Barrington Mai. According to Williams, Mai, a former police corporal, was upset that he had re-enlisted him into the force as a constable, and the week before, he had been maligning him. Williams says he called him in and verbally cautioned him, but Mai never stopped his verbal attacks, and so he was slapped with a criminal charge. His phone was confiscated as part of the investigation. Mai was arraigned on Friday and was granted bail of $5,000. He next appears in court on June 4, 2025. Immediate past leader of the UDP, Moses Shine Barrow, has questioned the application of the law, stating, quote, "If another police officer calling the former Compo Williams an expletive in a post rejoicing his departure is cause for criminal action, then this presents serious questions as to how this law is applied, and is this tantamount to an attack on freedom of speech? I have been called worse and even threatened publicly, yet when it was brought to Williams' attention, he refused to take action," end quote. An unoccupied colonial-style two-story wooden and cement home was destroyed, and a nearby cement structure had its contents damaged in an early morning fire on Hunters Lane in Belize City Sunday. The fire started after 2 a.m. Fire personnel responded and brought the blaze under control. The second structure was occupied by Jenna Leslie. Fortunately, no one was injured. The cause of the fire and cost of the damages has not yet been determined. On Thursday, a new preschool and an upgraded primary school, Gales Point Government Pre and Primary School, were inaugurated in Gales Point, Belize District. The project was funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, while the Social Investment Fund helped bring the project to fruition. The over $1 million project took roughly 1 year to complete. Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Honorable Ramon Munji Cervantes, spoke more on the works done at the school.
Education is a fundamental right and the foundation of national development. And so investing in our schools means investing in a brighter future in Belize for all Belizeans. This new school building represents progress and opportunity. It is fully equipped with modern classrooms, bathrooms, a kitchen, and storage spaces to ensure a safe and engaging learning environment for our children. Integrating the preschool with the primary school will create a smooth transition for young learners and strengthen their educational foundation, setting them on the path to success. Beyond the new school building, we have implemented key improvements, including a new bathroom annex with improved sanitation facilities, accessibility enhancements such as ramps and walkways for children with diverse needs, new playground equipment to promote holistic child development, security fencing to create a safe space for learning. This initiative is part of our national effort to ensure all children, especially in rural areas, have access to high-quality education.
Principal Shermadine Samuels Andrewen said the project will not just benefit current students, but also teachers, the community, and future students.
For our students, this renewed learning environment provides not only a safe and inspiring space, but also the message that they are valid, that their dreams matter, and that their education is a priority. A well-equipped school fosters confidence, motivation, and a deep sense of belonging, elements that shape a child's journey towards success. For our teachers, these improvements reaffirm our appreciation for their role in shaping young minds. A better school environment means they can focus on what they do best, educating, mentoring, and inspiring the next generation. For the community, this initiative serves as a powerful reminder of what we can achieve when we come together for a common cause. It strengthens our shared responsibility to nurture the minds of tomorrow and demonstrate that progress is possible when we invest in education. This project is not just about the present, it is about the future. It is about the generations of students who will walk through these doors, filled with hope and ambition. It's about creating a legacy of learning that will continue to uplift our community for years to come.
And Honorable Dolores Balderramos Garcia was named as the Senior Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister. While most would see it as demotion, as she's no longer the head of a substantive ministry, Balderramos Garcia told the media on Thursday that she's enjoying the flexibility of her new role. She said she's happy to be the first ever Senior Minister of State and that she's now able to focus on areas of interest. She said she has indicated to Prime Minister Honorable John Briceño that she would like to focus on elder affairs.
In relation to transitioning from Human Development and Indigenous Affairs into the Office of the Prime Minister, I am able to fashion some of my own role because I have been full of firsts in my life, and I believe I'm the first Senior Minister of State that has been appointed in this country. Now, I have said to the Prime Minister that I'm particularly interested in elder affairs. In other words, promoting the rights and the well-being and our services for elderly people. I know that in Barbados, there is a portfolio of elder affairs. We may not have that here, but even in an informal basis, I will be able to help in that regard. And I am still passionate about HIV and AIDS. I'm still willing to help with national awards and other things that were suggested to me. But what I find groundbreaking is that I am able to say to the Prime Minister, PM, let's put a little emphasis here, or let us put a little emphasis there, you know? So I'm very happy about it. And I have offered, as I have already said to the media, I have offered help to Minister Zabane, I have offered help to Minister Drea, and of course the Special Envoy, Mrs. Briceño. Whatever help they may need and however I can fit in, I will be absolutely happy to do so.
In the current administration, the Ministry of Indigenous Affairs has a new leader at the helm in Honorable Dr. Louis Zabane. On Thursday, Balderramos Garcia, who was a former minister in that ministry, expressed confidence that Dr. Zabane will do a good job heading the ministry. She said, there are people with experience in the ministry who will be available to advise.
I'm very confident that Dr. Zab will do a good job. I'm very confident in that. We have in the office, of course, we still have the CEO in Human Development. She can give advice even though the portfolio of Indigenous Peoples Affairs has moved over to Dr. Zabane. She will be there to advise. And also we have our director. I say we, no? It's not me anymore, but we're part of the same government, no? So the government also has the director of Indigenous Affairs, Mr. Gustavo Wekena, who is excellent. And I'm sure that we will not miss a beat. And whenever Dr. Zabane calls on us, and me in particular, I'm willing to help. But I have every confidence that he will continue to do well.
Balderramos Garcia also said that she doubts there would be any discontent among the Maya leaders over the change in minister.
Yeah, I don't see that there will be any kind of disgruntlement. I really do not see that because I have always said that the Maya Leaders Alliance, the proponents and the advocates of the South, they have always been our partners. We may not come to the issues in the same way, but it's one government. And I want to say that I think Dr. Zabane will do a good job and he will have a new CEO. The work will absolutely continue.
And with that, we have come to the end of our newscast. The repeat can be viewed on this station later tonight at 9 and again tomorrow at midday. Join us again tomorrow for another news broadcast. I am Drea Espinosa. Have a safe and enjoyable evening.